salute. Now we all come together as well. For tomorrow, now we go make salute. Oh yeah, Talking Point platform.
Yes, family, and welcome back to yet another very important segment where they come through the Talking Point platform. My name is Mohamed Kabu, and today, na the 6th of July 2022, we get three main issues then for car analyze. First, we want to talk about the most important thing where they happen at the country. We know we brave women then took upon themselves, then go on the streets on Monday, they risk everything because water don't pass Gary, and the UN repertoire don't want the Sierra Leone government, and it don't intervene. Most of the women they wouldn't be arrested on the protest. They don't release them. We get for come analyze that one. Secondly, we have to look at the way we people in the struggle right now. The Hajj saga. If you buy like government out, government in this year, this issue of Hajj, they solve every year. We people and get this problem of going to Hajj and get for suffer. And thirdly, we look at the presidential spokesperson, when Keke Toma don't finally admit, say yes, indeed, the things even worse as how they expect. We get them clip, then we can play for that. You should get the opportunity for sending text message, and of course we go read them for you now. And this program it come live on Talking Points platform, na Facebook, and also live na YouTube at TPP Leon. Whenever you go YouTube, not forget to click the subscription button. They na free. Okay, I'm not gonna say what they can deliberate on them and things here much more.
Talking Point platform for news every day. Now we country salute for education, entertainment, political affairs. TV. We got enough Tanga one inside Sierra Leone like a big quantity. We breeze not a shit TV.
All right, family, let me go back. Let's come back to the right thing before we analyze and bring the warning of the UN Special Rapporteur on human rights issues there. Let me just make a recap of what's in take place in Freetown on Monday. Take a look at this.
How much are we doing now? Some few sets of people all the businesses were closed down, all the shops were closed down. We all know see this thing a global issue where they go on right around the world. So
all right, so Fambu, that was a peaceful protest where Sierra Leoneans then Sierra Leonean women then gap upon themselves and say nothing, no matter what get for be the cost of this particular day. On Monday, we did come out and protest and make we voice heard. When are the fundamental human rights were nationally protected and enshrined in real 1991 Constitution, and also now obligation national, now international rights. Now, as we know how these governments they handle any critics, whether you have a point, whether you are trying to correct them, whether you are presenting alternative views, whether you constructively criticize the government, then just simply not care. This is a government that they're not tolerate, not zero tolerant to any form of criticism, We've seen that many times. People who dare for criticize the government, they have been languished in prison. Some of them have been arrested, beat them tail, and some people and they suffer and kill just because they are then dare for challenge the government. And the woman, some of them beat them mercilessly. Can you imagine? And not to say that salon no more. We understand. Don't get me wrong. The issue what did take place right in the salon, not to salon no more. We understand we get global problem. The war in Ukraine definitely affects the entire globe. No sign of day. But we on condition as alone even more worse. Now that make an officer the government even forget that thought for even they all beat people there. This is very, very dangerous. It's shamefully appalling, and government for apologize and compensate the woman and they immediately. This not so government for do. This not one of the way where I feel at least responsible government where get shame for do. Now, we see what's happening. Even in State House, take a look at one shocking video where they sent to it. Take a look at this video.
In a black, in a job, in a black, let's fly. In the West, mommy.
You don't fool.
Let die.
Just fuck up. Master, you know, you work in that home. They will make no sense. The frog you are not good. And shut you down the forever.
And one of the coaches is where the cost double as salon. And they talk to an escrow. La noble no bitamu. La noble no bitam. You don't take. Yes. The lion.
Yeah, go before I am.
The lion. Hey, what's it about? No. Now, bad motor, man. Then now, let's country go before fuel.
Go before Papa.
The hungry
All right, so this not a shameful video this way una don't watch for yourself. We are in presidential security guard. This now from State House now happen. In the beat a civilian, a woman masklessly. And the two way hurt me for the two way even funny and shocking and even hurt me. The fact that then they try even for politicize this thing. Now, president, they even get the audacity for cost mommy cause bring and come politics now APC send you now go tell ex-president Kuruma this that where people and just grab because these are the reality. Things are very, very hard. Then beat some of them protesters, a serious one. Without them breaking head, when I seen some of the clip they don't play, them breaking, without them beat, without them disgrace to nonsense. Simply because people are there for criticize or demonstrate. When are they right? It happened in UK, it happened in France, it happened in many European countries. Even in America, some parts of the people in protest. This is not just one of the way for get your voice heard because sometimes, if 2-3 people in the talk no more, government will just take and say now the opposition. But this now it cut across the aisle. It's not about APC, it's not about SLP, but this is about Sierra Leoneans, ordinary women there. We just want to go to market, go drag, buy from food, go back now also go try for take care of their family, take care of their home, where they meet with the harshest punishment where the government decide for answer them. Now, the UN rapporteur don't issue a statement. La bring come from this son of cities. Now, this gentleman don't warn the government of Sierra Leone. The UN special rapporteur don't send warning to the government of Sierra Leone, and it make it clear say the United Nations no condole Dentia absolutely. The UN special rapporteur where they represent right and freedom of peaceful assembly and association. He posts now the social media for urge governments for no say and for tell government and remind them say they get obligation for guarantee a right to peaceful assembly. In a tweet on social media, the UN special rapporteur, when Clement Nialetsosi Wolf, don't say the government not for use any sort of and feast, not for use any kind of tactics for cool down people. And that's not the right of all citizens. Now, la bring can the text, the tweets, then Alona said here, let not be like saying, I made a paraphrase. Take a look at this. Very good. You see, I go remind them for now. He said, la put in face on as I see, because it's there all over social media. He said, he remind the government of its obligation to guarantee the right to peaceful assembly, whether planned or spontaneous, and regardless of the organizers' registration status, authorities should facilitate peaceful assemblies. This is now one of the tweets, and it continues again with another tweet. All right, okay, I'm able to see this tweet down. My phone where it's supporter, but anyway, we now don't get the picture because of this man intervention. The government of Sierra Leone don't decide for left some of those women there where they arrest because in protest. So you see, this is just contradicted. So some wicked, misguided, distracted, disconnected politician in the country there, like the people like Sylvia Blyden, where take upon himself on social media, they can't criticize people and say people not get right for Komon-Tok. Now, the UN don't remind Sierra Leone where we're not part of those country that we rectify some of the UN freedom of speech and human rights conventions and ratify some of the articles and the where we get obligation for make sure say people enjoy their rights as Sierra Leone, as long as na peaceful protest. Because the arguments where people like silver blinding they put, it not just make any sense. It just show say when money involved, the most trusted person, somebody will be looking to where if you say a possible guy caliber, guy integrity. Believe me, money can bend anybody. I'll tell you this: money can bend anybody. Silver blinding, they go live, they post, they say the people Femi Claudius called they not get right because them for don't take permission. Me and you know, me and you too na Sierra Leone, we know say even if them be asked for permission, police not get for grants them. We don't see teachers, ordinary teachers, they ask for permission instead they arrest them back. They arrest them back. Even the same silver blinded, police and be arrested. One we see where one of the evidence of them pull, they say they found picture of the ex-president annexed by Komon-Tok, they use them for jailer. The same police way the defense. So that for sure you say when money is involved, believe me, integrity, Motorman, it can bend at any time because money don't involve. So this is a clear example. So, I mean, we tell the UN Special Rapporteur plenty, thank you for we intervene, make they release some of the women there. Again, let me bring Cantona, again, what's in the government in account, why they arrest the oppositions there, opposition leaders then. Take a listen on this.
Parts of the globe, even here in the UK, where thousands marched in London earlier in June in a demonstration which was called by trade unions to demand the government here makes what they described as a better deal for people struggling to cope with soaring inflation. Yesterday, hundreds of lorries, vans and tractors also across England, Wales and Scotland created roadblocks on major highways to complain about the situation with regards to fuel. Well, the same is being shown by poorer people and people who are suffering from the crunch in countries like Sierra Leone too. When citizens there, though, said they were going out to make their voices heard there yesterday, police deployed across the capital, Freetown, and some of those calling for the protests were arrested and detained, and they included opposition parliamentarians. Well, journalist Umaru Fofana went to speak to the Information Minister, Mohamed Rahman Swari, about it. And he asked first, does the government acknowledge the harsh economic conditions which are making life unbearable, affecting most people there?
Government is absolutely very concerned. We have a situation which everybody knows. It is ignited by a whole lot of factors outside the control of government. For example, you and I are aware that during COVID, oil-producing nations cut down daily supply of petroleum products by about 10 million barrels a day. That has not been restored. Then came the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Russia supplies about 53% of sub-Saharan petroleum product needs. We have all these disruptions. On top of that, add transportation and distribution costs. We are saying, even in the midst of all this, we have not stood arms akimbo. Government has been very engaged with this process. On its instructions, teams are going around the country to raise the awareness of people so that they are able to understand the key and critical challenges of the moment and how that is impacting on commodity prices.
Besides making them understand, what mitigating measures are you putting in place to cushion the effect on the people?
Well, already from January to now, government has given foreign currency support to the tune of $87 million to enable importers to bring this much needed petroleum products into the country. At the same time, government has been able to do interventions to the tune of 380 billion leones just to ensure that we cushion the impact on our hard-hit population.
How so? Because in terms of the money you're giving to the oil importers, it's not really reflecting on the pump price. It's 120% increase this year alone on the pump price of fuel.
Omar, you could very well agree with me that when prices were in the region of $66.96 in 2019, for example,
parties were arrested and are still in detention. Are you not escalating an already volatile?
To those people, I like to warn I want very clearly. Government has given clear instructions. The Petroleum Regulatory Agency and the Ministry of Trade are on a prowl. They will be dipping fuel storages, and where they discover that hoarding is in place, those dealers will face the fullest force of the law.
Now, be that as it may, the anger of people has built up so much that there were protests in town yesterday, ahead of which the leaders of two political parties were arrested and are still in detention. Are you not escalating an already volatile situation?
Well, that's a law and order issue. You understand, like we all know, when this is a democracy, we have created enough space for people to let off steam, to express dissent in very organized and decorous ways. But where you have a group of faceless firebrands who do not want to abide by due process, instigate and incite members of the public to compound an already difficult situation, the law will deal with that. It's a law and order issue.
How do you call that incitement? Basically organizing people to have a civil demonstration, peaceful demonstration to express their grievances. What is inciting about that? No.
So when you do it the way this was done, the police clearly issued a statement. If a group of citizens are interested in organizing dissent, whether by way of a peaceful demonstration or presenting letters, they are free to come and sit with us so that we can put necessary modalities in place. Because in situations like this, things could go out of hand.
Sierra Leone's Information Minister Mohamed Rahman Soare, and a point of correction, I said 2 parliamentarians were arrested.
So, Fambo, that's not the other side of the government. Why then decide to arrest the opposition leaders, and then we say if they not arrest them, and perhaps if they take part by the protests, it could get out of hand. But again, this we all know say the governments don't fail. This is not a secret. Waiting government for just do now for let them manage the situation carefully, responsibly, trigger or incite or provoke the situation for become even more worse. We get out of hand. There are times you see waiting on begin happening at the country. So woman them where would they look at and say that then they afraid for commodity. Most protesters until a man in the common and the day before. Now woman don't begin to challenge the condition, the situation. You're not going to put everybody at bay. You go reach a point, people and go ignore everything if you're a dynamic and die. We don't want to lay which is our level there. But number would you urge for let the government be more responsible, pay attention. And that make we don't talk many times. Running a government, you're not running a family, you're not running a social club. Inclusiveness. Inclusiveness come with people away matter, count people away no. Regardless of their views, their background or their region, whatever. But we don't see when one of the mistake where these governments can do a thorough vetting, selective. We understand when a government come in power, they get certain people away, now their own body, definitely. But we see the government wicked themselves, even certain people away, they are well experienced in certain areas, certain sectors there. We see a rapid firing everywhere, sacking. And for replace, you go replace person with degree, with even a better degree, but you're not able to replace in experience. This is something where government don't even look at. We see then canceled mining companies and contracts there. Where for no good reason and cancel projects there. But anyway, we'll not just go deeply in that because this are for just we analyze deep. We get a lot of things there for talk about again. Let me just bring again another a very sad situation. We brothers we papa there, we mama there where they plan for Gona Hajj. Then they're in limbo right now. They are not sure. They are not even sure. La try for come with the video. All right, perhaps I get Maya. I don't know if you know this. It's in this.
Make I tell you, Mr. President.
Yes, I pay for myself, not no scholarship. Scholarship no scholarship one. But they don't deprive we. They can't deprive profit. They say not else than America. Nothing that they gain there. That profit that they think the world. The way you work for they lie. So why AYD if not they who they vote?
So lie.
They don't pull down. They say no.
We don't have to more than 6 to 7 days now. So lie. Every day, so lie. Every day, so lie. People are not concerned by the program. Then they
Good morning, Mr. President. Make I tell you, Mr. President, this is not a disappointment for we. Now you don't disappoint yourself because from 6 days don't begin, you don't do nothing yet. When you say na vice president, if a vice president don't can do something, you don't go through. Now you say something for grab, you can't do. Boy, would they ask you? You go get money, you get access for send the prayer then.
These are the voices of the send pray games that have been abandoned as the Lungi.
Now go before?
Yes, continue.
You get a chance for pay for the prayer then. Then they go to other country, they spend for cool money, but forget a prayer for take the people from here to Mecca. For them to go pray God for this country, for make the country development candidate, benefit candidate. Now we don't tire, we don't that, we don't own money na people they earn, we don't go sit down. Now ordinary fufu bread no more they can't give to the people there. When they come with the bread, they molest all the respected people there for their supply them. We don't go for it under the water. Oh, this is not fine so. Under the rain, people they go to for go get bread.
All right, Fambulen, it seems as it is, I don't know when we go solve this issue of Archgate. Every government gets Archgate. Government in, government out. Government in, government out. We see what happened during the regime of APC, where people then cry back bitterly, and we see back the same thing that happened now. But again, if you listen to the point, it makes clear. The president and the government, they can take certain things, then get priority them where no matter how it costs, then they go with that. I mean, government to talk say money no day. Even if I play which the clip of the president's spokesperson, Keke Toma, they say governments are constrained and resources they're tied. The answer are constrained, and they will do much. But again, now the same governments when they listen to the ordinary people and not listen to people, then they spend recklessly. Now the PAB may make a point say even when it comes to the players, well, of course, we know the sport and national something. But again, this not to say now governments, they pay for them people there. Some of them are then pay for themselves physically. Now for let just government organize the trip for make them able to fly, go to Mecca and come back. Some of these, now they like all of these are the highest dream. However, imagine somebody don't spend, and some of them part there, they look at and say, you're not sure if you go live next year. And we know as a Muslim, these are one of the 5 obligations where we do the 5 pillars of Islam. So he is sorry to the point that the issue is just they expand, it just they multiply, and we get a government who know they listen. That I may always listen to people who know they close to you. And also not listen to people who are close to you, but also try to listen to people who are far. We're not to you party there. We're not to you party there. We're not in a government, particularly when they run a government. Many times, well-wishers of Sierra Leone, patriotic citizens don't advise President Komon. Money not in the country, they spend too much money in flight. Every 2-3 days, the president stay out with the plane. Now, even for provide a plane or for arrange for me and take people and go to Aji, but this president, every 2-3 days, every 1 week, a chat plane they come for her. What did they go do out? No sabi. 2 days ago, he did in France. Before that, he did Kenya. From Kenya, then at Dubai. Sometimes they know self-side. The presidents know they take 1 month. Now the country full 1 month impossible. And now money now they go thousands of dollars for charter them plane then day. And not just a commercial plane they will see don't go. If you not charter plane for go, they charter plane for come. And the thing is sometimes they can do it simultaneously in WEF. Look, few days ago we see in WEF charter a whole plane with in France and go to Gambia, whilst the president charter another plane. That ain't not a small money. Now the same consolidated funds, the money whether for take subsidized by other team, and they take whistle hundreds and thousands, billions of leons. We don't talk this. We not get money as a government. Now bigger or the bigger. No, we live like normal people and normal president. But we get a president who they live as if not for sport president. 2-3 days in the outself. Even Biden when are the way we get plain on yon. Our presidents they will get plain on their yon. You understand? Even Guinean president, this cool guy, Kara, we get a national airline. We know they say they go they scatter at the wall like that. But presidents they waste too much money. That I make if we want to go before we get for the listen to reserve. Politicians then when I get for put their ego aside, work for the interests of the people, converge the different views them, accept reality, bring calm people and not because you sabi there, not because them come on the same tribe, because they able to perform the job sincerely, honestly, patriotically. Look like what's happening in the census. Government spend $10 million. Spend huge amount of money on census where not get any serious effect. Opposition not supporter, locals they not supporter, but just because government look at and say yeah, advantageous for them, then go ahead. And this is wrong. Now that means the country they continue for suffer, they continue for triangle this. Imagine if them money then they be day. Then wastage and day, then leakages and day, then on ceremonious travel where the president they travel, charter plane $100,000, you get in entourage there every 2-3 days. If those monies are kept in the consolidated fund, there will come a time, a moment like this, the government will look into those monies, and then if they have the will to help, they can take some of this money and cushion some of those difficult sectors where the economy as a whole. We like, for example, the petroleum side, where I know the government is subsidized, but enough, and we know how that can enlarge anything where affect fuel. If one leon go up fuel, you get a ripple effect. It is spread across, just like what you guess. Anyway, Frambo, this we get time for today. My name is Mohamed Kagbo. I tell you plenty. Thank you for joining me on the program. Until then, bye bye.
Talking Point platform for news every day now we country.